31M, wife, 35F, has been talking to an ex. What should I do about this? I tried not to make this too long, but I think I failed at that. I'm in a situation that I just don't know how to handle and don't have anyone I can talk to about this. My 31M, wife, 35F, is pregnant with our first child, and we are scheduled for her to be induced this week. I love her so much, and I've been looking forward to this for a long time. We have known each other for a very long time. I was 13 when I met her. We were friends for many years and became very close, despite long periods where we lost touch, but didn't become romantically involved until much later. We have now been together for about 7 years and married for 3. We are in our early 30s. A few days ago she said she needed to tell me something, but I will be mad, but she wants to be completely honest with me. She said she texted one of her exes about a week before. The way she describes it, it was an accident. In a way she was in a conversation with her friend. Somehow he came up and she wanted to test to see if she still remembered the number. Turns out she did remember it, and it was in fact him. She said she did text back and forth for a bit, but it was completely innocent. She didn't really give me any details of the conversation, and I didn't ask. Honestly, I didn't get mad, and I really did believe her and trust her. However, it did make me feel a bit uneasy. Honestly, I wasn't really sure how I felt. And so many other life things were going on, I didn't really have the time or energy to really process it. A bit more context: she was never exactly in a relationship with this guy, but was hooking up with him and was good friends with him for a while when she was younger, before we were ever together, during one of the periods where we lost touch. She has told me before that out of everyone she's been with, he's the only one she really cared deeply about other than me. She has told me many times that she has loved me and wanted to be with me since we were young, before we were ever actually together and even before she knew him. While I'm the only one she's ever truly wanted, he basically is in second place. That includes sexually. She is a very sexual person and had an intense sexual relationship with him. Also, for years after she was hooking up with him, but still before we were together, there would be periods where she would start talking to him again after long periods of time, and I believe they even hooked up again a few times. It wasn't until we officially got together that she finally cut him out for good. Obviously, he has been a sore subject for me given their history, and she promised me she was not going to talk to him again now that we were finally together. That was about 7 years ago. To make things worse, he was married the whole time when they were hooking up, and still is now with kids. Even aside from the fact that I feel threatened by him, I just don't have any respect for him based on the fact that he was cheating on his wife that whole time. It has also always bothered me that she was willing to be with him despite that she was literally the other woman. Granted, I don't know him, but I feel like I know enough to know he is not what I would consider to be a good person. Now this is the part that I'm not exactly proud of. This was weighing on me for a couple days after she told me. I got curious and looked at her phone when she wasn't around. At first, I didn't see the texts, but I checked her trash, since deleted texts can be recovered for 30 days, and there they were. At first it was pretty innocent. He was confused and surprised she texted him, and she told him she's not really sure why and didn't expect the number to even be right, but she admitted she was curious how he's doing since he's an old friend she really did care about. She also made it clear up front that she wouldn't let anything jeopardize our relationship, and if he can't maintain a platonic discussion she'll have to retreat again. They talked for a bit, and he was actually pretty complimentary of me, saying things like she ended up with a hunk. Although it was a little weird because they both admitted to stalking each other from time to time, looking each other up on Facebook and things like that. That's how he knew who I was, and what I looked like. As I read on, however, it made me more uncomfortable. It wasn't long before he was asking her for pictures, prego pics, and she even took a couple and sent them to him. They were just of her face, but clearly she was trying to look good. In one of them she has a lollipop in her mouth waiting in the doctor's office, and he said something like, "Still have an oral fixation, I see," and she replied with something like, "Yeah, always," and as the conversation went on he would get closer to bringing up sexual topics like that. She wasn't exactly playing into it, but not shutting it down either. For example, he would say something like, "I wasn't that good anyway," and she'd say, "I won't comment on that," indirectly implying he's wrong, but she can't say that. But then I kept reading, and they didn't just talk for a little while. He proceeded to text her every day, and they would talk some more specifically during the day, while we're all at work. Then he'd go dark in the evening, and on the weekend, presumably because he would then be home with his family, and she'd be home with me. This has been going on now for about 2 weeks. He initiates it each time, but they continue to talk throughout each day. She did not tell me this was an ongoing thing. And the boundaries of the conversation get pushed more and more. The conversation has turned more and more sexual at points. She's described to him in detail how we have sex, very complimentary and positive, almost like bragging. She's gone into pretty explicit detail about how she orgasms with me. They've both asked each other new things and kinks that they're into since they've been together. And she's replied with things like, "I'd abuse you a little," in response to him talking about being into BDSM-like stuff. They've talked about fantasies, and she even said she's always been curious about having two guys at once. He joked back he'd be down, and she replied with, "My husband's head would explode." She said a few things like, "We'd have an affair to remember," and things along those lines. As I read on, it really seemed to me to be crossing the line despite her telling me she didn't and wouldn't, and despite her even telling him that up front. Maybe we all have different definitions of crossing the line, but I'm just not okay with this conversation. It's enough that she's talking to him at all, platonic or not. At one point, he straight up told her, "I'm going to go home and look at porn," and even asked her for suggestions on what to watch, and she gave him a few. Clearly he's getting off to these conversations, and she is not shutting it down. In their conversation, she's even told him the town where we live, which makes me extremely uncomfortable that he knows where we are. He travels a lot for work, so it's likely he passes nearby fairly often. Before a concert a couple nights ago that we went to, she even asked him if he wanted to go since we had an extra ticket. I assume that was a joke, since clearly I was going as well, but still very weird. When our relationship first began, I had a lot of insecurities because she has had a lot more experience than I've had, and she's a few years older. She's been with some very bad, abusive guys, and has gone through phases of promiscuity. Over time, I feel that I've matured and let go of all of that insecurity. I've come to trust her completely. From the moment she brought this up to me, I feel like that is now falling apart. I feel ashamed that I looked at her phone and have been now every once in a while to see the new updates to the conversation. She has no idea. I don't want to be violating her trust, but knowing about this ongoing conversation, I really feel betrayed. I want it to stop, and I want him to be gone. But I don't want it to be because I made her stop it. I want her to do it on her own accord. We are literally hours away from having a baby, and I want to focus on that. We have had a very difficult year. Some good things. I got promoted twice in 1 year and we bought a new house. But also some very bad, including an initial pregnancy where we lost the baby at 17 weeks, which was very hard on us both. I know it's been rough for both of us, and I know I haven't been the best I can be. I've been so stressed out, and in many ways depressed, and at many points I'm sure I've been unbearable because she's just as stressed as I am and I've just added to it. But I've felt lately like the smoke is finally clearing, and now this happens. I don't know what to do. I want to talk to her about this, but I don't want to tell her I've been looking at her phone. If I bring it up, I wonder if she'll end up telling me the truth about all of this, that she's still talking to him, and some of the details of their conversation. I honestly can't remember her ever really lying to me. It would be a very hard conversation, and I just don't see it going well. She knows I would not be okay with some of the boundaries they've crossed in the conversation. She would never be okay if I did something similar, and I never have, and never would consider it. I'm not sure what I'm looking for exactly by posting this here. I feel like I needed to get this off my chest, and I guess I could use some advice. I'm just lost right now. How should I handle this situation? So your wife and this guy mutually conspired to cheat on his wife, and you were okay with that for some reason, and now they're mutually conspiring to cheat on you. Seems bad. I've come to trust her completely. Why? So she has a history of cheating and has started up an emotional affair with a former lover. What's your question? You two need marriage counseling badly. She absolutely crossed lines of propriety. Dude, she's lying. I've never talked about an ex and texted to see if the number worked. But even if you believe that lie, she texted him non-stop and she texted photos to him. You know they don't think much of marriage or vows, which is wild that you even married someone like this. If she has cheated, she's definitely thinking about it. At minimum, she crossed major lines. I wouldn't be with someone like this. All I've gotta say is nobody ever texts an ex to see if they remember their number. She was the mistress in the past and now she's gonna cheat on you soon. 36F. Don't know if I can stay married to my husband, 35M. Hi. Longtime lurker, posting first time because I need help. My husband, C, 35M, and I have been married for 7 years and have been together for 10 years. The relationship has been good with the regular fights etc. I would dare say a happy marriage. The first actual challenge in our relationship came a few days ago. We visited an obgyn and got to know that I have some complications because of which I may not be able to conceive. There are treatments if we want, not really an end-of-the-road kinda situation. We also got to know that both of us have some infection for which we were prescribed antibiotics. I never really asked what infection, just started the meds. I had to travel for work same day, so we didn't really get a chance to discuss things much. During the next few days C was kind of cross, rude with me on phone. I kept asking what was the matter, but he just said he is tired or some other random excuse, but I knew something was bothering him. 2 days ago, during our video call, X says he googled and the meds prescribed are the ones they give to treat gonorrhea, G. I was like, oh really? Maybe they give same meds for all kinds of bacterial infections, and I then moved on to other topics, didn't really pay much attention to this. We then ended the call quickly. He said he was sleepy. I later realized, much to my surprise, that maybe he meant to say I gave him G. I thought maybe I was reading too much into it, so I msg'd him asking if this is what he is thinking. And neither of us have any symptoms, I didn't give him anything. He replies, okay. This confirmed my suspicions. He actually thought I cheated on him, and that too to an extent to contract an STD. Unlike what we read on Reddit, everyday cheating is something we both would never do. We are just not those kind of people. Brought up in conservative households and just something we can't even imagine doing. I say we because I know X is also exactly the same in this matter. So this accusation coming from him after 9 years of knowing me, I just flipped. I cannot believe that he googled some stuff and his first reaction was my wife is cheating. If the tables were turned, I could never have reached this conclusion in a million years. This basically means after all these years he doesn't even trust me. Like the whole foundation of our marriage seems shaky if something so vague led him to think that I can cheat. It exposes us, making it obvious that he doesn't really know me if he thinks that, and I don't know him either because I am still shocked he would assume something like this about me. I just couldn't stop crying. I don't want this relationship anymore because if there is no trust, what's the point of building a life together? Also, I don't know if I can get over this. He did apologize for jumping to this conclusion, but it's not enough for me. I don't know what to do. Do I know just make an effort to forgive and move on because it's a marriage? How can I walk out over something which isn't really like domestic violence or something much worse? Or do I walk out because of he couldn't trust me in 9 years? What can change in future? This was hurtful and more importantly immensely disrespectful. How do I build a life with someone who doesn't trust me? Tomorrow if we ever have a kid who doesn't look like him, he may ask me for a paternity test. Do I let myself be disrespected today and possibly in future too? Reddit, please help. P.S. Before anyone says he is projecting and hence he is cheating, please don't. I know he would never. Too long did not read. My husband thinks I cheated on him and I don't know if I can continue in this marriage if he doesn't trust me. How about getting the paperwork stating exactly what disease was being treated? If it is an STD, someone cheated, you should know what your treatment is for, and so should he. It boggles my mind why this is not important. Until you know why should all the users on Reddit give your faith credit? I wish you well. Wife. My doctor says we have an infection. Take these pills. Husband. What kind of infection? Wife. I don't know. Just take the pills. Husband. Isn't this the same stuff they use to treat STDs? Wife. What? How dare you? I don't think I can stay in this marriage. Yeah. This seems super sane. 2 adults get prescribed medication for an infection and neither ask what the infection or medication is. See no evil. How can you not know what infectious disease you were diagnosed with? Do you not talk to your own doctor? I think you two both need to communicate better. He should have brought this to you as soon as he realized it was bothering him. I don't think any projecting is going on. I think you two have always equally trusted each other. He now believes he has hard evidence of you cheating and was probably hesitant to talk about it because he was debating whether or not it was silly to question your faith. He should have come to you with an, I trust you and always have. But I've been thinking about this nonstop. And you guys could have gotten to the bottom of it. Take his apology to heart, and maybe consider couples therapy as a way of rebuilding that trust before it gets any worse. Am I, F25, wrong for walking out on my husband, M26, and kids? I'm exhausted and so unappreciated. We've been married for 3 years and have 2 kids. A 2-year-old and a 8-month-old. I do it all. I do 100% of the cleaning and cooking. I cook my son his separate meals since I have to find new fun ways of hiding veggies and meats in his foods. And I breastfeed and make my 8-month-old his own BLW diet. I get zero help when it comes to childcare. It's all me. Always been me. I'm the reason my kids are happy, well-fed and clean. I'm the one who takes them out every day, who makes sure they look good. I'm the one who organizes birthdays and holidays. Every time I ask him for help he tells me to go away or next time close my legs. He works from home and after work he goes straight to the gym. Demands his dinner be hot and ready on the table when he comes home. And then spends the next 2-3 hours playing video games before bed. His days off work are sacred to him and time for him to be outside with his friends. Anytime he's at home for a prolonged time with me and the kids, it's considered wasting his time as he could be doing more productive things. Anyways, I finally broke today. I hardly ever get period pains and today's I felt like I was in labor again. Complete agony, I couldn't even get off the floor. Again I was alone with the kids. I came crying to his room for help, literally crawling as baby wanted milk. He told me to get out and I'm faking it. He then dragged me to feet and told me I better make the baby milk. Closed his door and resumed his game. Couple hours later I was napping with the kids and suddenly awoke to being dragged up by my waist and being told to put his clothes in the wash. I got dressed and just left him and the kids. I've gone to my mum's and won't be back for hours. I just want him to understand everything I do here since he treats me like dirt. I won't be back until he's begging. He told me once I step out he's taking the kids to his mum's and she's going to look after them. Highly doubtful. I already know the kids are awake by now and he's probably losing it already. I am worried about them, but I just need to put me first for once. I can't help but feeling a terrible pit in my stomach, like I abandoned my babies and they're probably suffering with him right now. Have I done the right thing or am I making a big mistake? I just wanted a break so bad. Any advice? Edit. 2 hours in and he's been blowing up my phone telling me I need to get here now. I was only away for 2 hours from the kids. They seem fine, albeit hungry and needed a diaper change. So sad he can't even meet their basic needs. We're both ignoring each other. Not saying a word. He refuses to go back to his mum's as he's on the lease agreement. He refuses to leave point blank and he knows I can't kick him out of his house. So I'm ignoring him until he decides he needs me to wash his gym bottle or clean his desk. Oh honey. You need to divorce his ass. This is completely unacceptable. Go get your kids and talk to a lawyer, like yesterday. I wouldn't trust him to take care of those babies for a second. Go get the kids and leave him completely. He's abusive and it won't be long before the dragging turns into snacking you down the hall till you clean up the mess he made. Go get those kids, God knows what they are going through. He sounds like the worst kind of man. How on earth did you end up marrying him? I read this and just thought he sounds like an outright awful person. Tell me, what's the difference between being in this relationship and being a single parent? I bet you'd be happier if you were single because you wouldn't have him dragging you out of bed to do the washing or demanding hot dinners. Please see yourself as worth more than this. You have your whole life to be happy. Can you cope with another 60 years of this misery and exhaustion? Free yourself. Love yourself. Please. Get some videos, secretly, documenting the abuse. Take the kids to your mum's, and get a divorce lawyer. You'll get alimony and child support. You got this. My 32F guy friend, 30M, refuses to date women over 30 because he wants to have kids. My friend wants kids like really badly, and when he dates, he takes that into account and he comes to me for relationship advice since I'm one of the few female friends he has. One of the first things he told me was that he wouldn't date women over 30. I asked him why and he said it's because a relationship will take a few years to grow. He said he would need to take her age into account because he wants a few kids and space them out a bit. He's against having kids with women over 35. He thinks it's dangerous. So, to be safe he's working backwards and only dates women under 30. I was like okay. I didn't judge. He's having trouble finding success in dating women in their 20s because they don't have the same life goals as he does. I told him gently that the age group he's targeting is probably too young to be thinking of having kids and settling down. He replied, "Why are you as a woman prioritizing fun with a stranger rather than trying to find the right person having fun with them?" The last girl he dated was like 25 and he got angry because she said she hadn't thought at all about having kids. When I tell him it's probably more likely for women over 30 to be thinking about having kids, he doesn't listen. It seems like he would rather become a passport bro, which I advised against, than to even consider women his own age. I don't know how to make him see it from a different perspective. Edit. Answers for common questions I keep seeing. Why was he having fun in his 20s instead of settling down? I never said he was. This has been his lifelong goal as far as I know. It's just that now it's starting to wear him down. How young he's dating. What's the minimum age? He sounds creepy. 24. Why are you against passport bros? Long story, but I'm from the East and I've seen too many creepy relationships. I am not against people from different countries meeting by chance and ended up dating. It's a very different thing to plan it and go to some developing countries to look for a wife. It rubs me the wrong way. He's also not white. He's black. So it would be a completely different experience for him anyway. Why do you care so much about his dating preferences? He's the one who keeps coming to me and complains about his dating life. As a friend, that's what you're kind of for. To listen and help. There are plenty of women that want to be married and have kids before 30. It seems like it's more of a personality problem. Do not intervene. A guy like that should probably avoid having kids anyway. Natural selection. Info. How is he working on himself to make himself father material? I don't know how to make him see it from a different perspective. You've already advised him quite plainly about this. Maybe just ask him to be quiet about his relationship issues because you've already been through this conversation and he's set in his ways and incredibly annoying about it. Man shrugging. He doesn't want a partner in life, but someone to pop out babies for him. The people he is pursuing probably see this and aren't interested in being his living incubator as they realize that they deserve better. It is also logical that women in their 20s want to have fun with relationships right now.